So welcome to number 2 of my videos. I'm excited about this one. I've got lots to cover. As you could see from the title, it's a step to personal freedom. Now, what does one mean by that? So let me give you a little rundown of what my week's been like. So Saturday, we had a neighborhood dinner group at our house. I don't eat, but one thing I do, I enjoy cooking, so I cook for everybody. It was kind of strange watching them enjoy my food while I'm just sitting there watching them. But everybody had a good time and a lot of good conversations were had. And a lot of it was around my health and how I deal with it. And we'll go into some more details about that. It was a busy week for me. I then had an appointment this week with my pain clinic that I go to, and we're trying to figure out what procedure to have next, but in the meantime we're gathering a lot of information. And it was kind of fun sitting down with my doctor, and one of the big things that he said to me was, he goes, "Gary, of all my patients that I've seen, you'll always have the best disposition." And my answer to him, and it has been for a long time, is I do tend to get to visit the emergency room a lot. I've, over the last few years, spent a lot of time in hospital. And when I'm there, I always feel like I'm not as sick as everybody else. I don't know if you've ever experienced that and felt that, but when I'm sitting there, yes, I'm sick, but I look around the waiting room and I see people that definitely seem at that time a lot sicker than me. They may not have everything that's going on internally that I do, so a lot of it may be their outward appearance. And likewise, when I'm visiting the hospital, which I've spent many a day in the hospital, and I'm doing my walks, which they make you go on, again, I get to visit with other hospital patients, and I get to see and listen how sick they seem to be. And so for me, it's always about knowing that there's always somebody worse off than me. And that's one thing that keeps me going, and as I say, helps me in those times that I'm feeling bad. Like yesterday, I was going to do this video and I felt crappy all day, and it just wasn't one of those things that I wanted to share with everybody, is how bad I felt. So there are times that I have great intentions but can't follow through, and I think we all go through that. So in the comments below, tell me something that you're struggling with right now. I'm sure there's other people out there that are dealing with the same thing, and between us there may be an answer for it. And a lot of times, as I say, it's just changing our outlook, changing our disposition. But that has to start from the inside. One thing I tend to do, and I've been doing a lot, especially as I say in the last 3 years since I've been sick, and I did it before I got sick, but I've had a little bit more time, and I do still listen to a lot of self-help tapes. I do watch a lot of self-help videos. Again, with YouTube, I've had the ability to go in and listen to other mentors out there, listen to other people that have other issues. So there's a lot out there that we can get information from, and people that we can share information with. So those are probably out of this week were 2 of the biggest takeaways. Also during the week, as I say, it was a kind of an interesting week for me. I also had to go see my cardiologist. Well, one thing after they felt that I had a stroke a few weeks ago was I've been going through a lot of tests, and now there's information or signs within my body that now are telling them that I have heart disease. So again, it's like one of those kicks in the stomach, and it's like, wow, can anything else happen to me? Which they can, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So this week I've been going through a whole bunch of tests. I've gone in and had some CAT scans and echoes, and it's luckily I don't talk hospital or doctor talk, because like my echo, it was a 45-minute procedure or event, and there were two people in there, one actually doing the echo test and the second one typing up the notes from what the person doing the echo was telling them. Now, we could get alarmed because it's like, wow, there's a lot of things they're talking about. And fortunately, as I say, I don't talk doctorese or any of that, so I'm sure when I go in next week and meet with the cardiologist, she'll break it down into plain English for me. There were a few things that I gathered from it, and they talked a lot about plaque, so obviously there's definitely some plaque there, and what extent it is, I don't know. It's kind of like going to the dentist. They use all these codes, and unless you have the sheet in front of you, you have no idea what they're talking about. But I left there feeling good because, I was able to make my way out of there on my own 2 feet. And again, sitting in that waiting room, I was the youngest person. It's like, wow. But I'm looking at everybody else there, and they all seemed a lot more fragile and in more need than I was. So again, I walked out of there feeling again good. Now the results may not be so good, and maybe the results will be a lot better than I'm anticipating, but I'm still going to have that great attitude about it and not spend my time looking everything up in Google, finding out that I don't have anything that I think I have, which we sometimes self-diagnose. And having been sick for 3 years, the doctors haven't been able to diagnose me, so the likelihood of me being able to do it myself is pretty slim. Another thing that happens this week, having all of these visits and all of these tests, this week I had the luxury of having to write checks for a little over $5,000 for insurance payments, which I think right now I'm very, very close to hitting our out-of-pocket maximum if we haven't already done it. The problem is so much this trap crosses in the night, so we might have already hit it and we'll end up getting a refund later on in the year. But it's one of those things. It's when you're on a fixed income and having to write a big check like that, it's not easy, it's not comfortable. But one of the things that we've done over the years is we put ourselves in a position, in the event something like this happened, that we would be able to survive it and get through it. One of the ways we did that is we both, over the years that we've worked, have put money into our 401ks, we've both done IRAs, we've both done savings, outside of forced savings, as I call it. We've also not jumped around. I mean, I look at a lot of the people that I employed and how much they jump around from house to house trying to get to the next level, which in reality all they're doing is going further in debt. They want to drive the nicer car, so none of them seem to keep a car for over a year or two. If you look at my cars, most of them we keep for 10 to 15 years before we do anything with them. And those are just two of the big ticket items that we've been very conscious of. We could have easily have moved up to a bigger house in the past, but reality was, we wanted to, raise our children with an understanding that you don't have to do that. We wanted to raise them in the same house, but we also wanted to be able to save money, pay down our mortgage or pay off our mortgage. And now that we've moved to Las Vegas, you know, we sit with very comfortable in a nice house with no mortgage payment, no debt to the banks on any of the improvements that we've done to the house. So it's put us in a position, even though we're on a fixed income, we can live within that and probably still save money. So one of the biggest things I would say is, you know, live within your means. It's always hard because, and we're guilty to some extent, is the more you make, the more you spend. Now that may be that you go on fancier holidays. You know, I look back and I was talking to my youngest son when we first got married 32 years ago. I made $12,000 a year and she made $9,000. We still managed to go on vacations, but they might have been camping trips. Now when we go on vacation, we stay in, you know, penthouses and do a lot of activities, or we did until I got sick, a lot of activities, and that's just taking our vacation from where they were, where we could afford them, to we could still afford them, but they are definitely a lot more luxurious. So but we've taken a long time to get to that stage. So what I see so many people do, they want to be there today as opposed to taking their time to get there. So hopefully you got some information out there. As I say, write down your comments below. What issues are you dealing with right now? And I've got a helicopter flying above me, which is good and bad. It's nice that I can be sitting outside here in March in 70-degree weather, but you're also got to contend with all the outside noises that go on. So as I say, write down in the comments, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this, tell me what other things you'd like to hear about. I've got lots that I'm going to share with you. Let's say, let's make this your best decade ever. And let's say, if there's anything you particularly want to have more information about, definitely put it in the comments below. And with that, I bid you farewell and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.